Hi everyone, it's Giorgia here and welcome to BeeColorful. Today we will create the last 3 cards together using the Tonic Craft Kit number 40. In all the Tonic Craft Kit we find the set of exclusive dies and stamps, a selection of Nuvo products and a set of Craft Perfect cards, all match the theme of the kit. Dies and stamps cannot be bought separately, while all other products can be bought in the shops. I remind you that below in the description box you will find the list of all the products included in the kit and those not included that I will use during the video. Also, if you'd like more information about this monthly kit, I leave you the link to the Tonic Studios website down below in the description box. So, in the first part of this video we have created this card. If you want to watch the video, you will find the link below in the description box, at the end of this video and in the card that will appear above. In the second part, however, we made these 3 cards, a split gatefold card, a shaker card, and we saw how to use the dies to create embossing. Also for this video I leave you the link in the description box, at the end of this video and in the tab that will appear at the top right. But now let's continue with the card number 6. Paper piecing or inlay die cutting is a technique that involves reassembling piece by piece a die-cut figure, as if it were a puzzle. For this card I will use this technique. To be honest, this is a technique that requires a lot of time, depending on the subject, and many of you perhaps may not like to dedicate so much time to that technique. As for me, I find it very relaxing, also because in general I like doing puzzles, and I will use it for a very special person. Okay, now let's go to the creation of the card. With one of the intricate dies of the kit, I die cut the grey classic card. Now, always with the same die, I'm going to die cut the black satin paper, the mirror card opera red, and the brown pearlescent paper. Then on white cardstock I'm gonna make the main panel, that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I will use this die cut as a mask to compose my image. And let's get started. I plan to create a mosaic using the squares of the die cut, alternating the colors. In addition, in some parts, I will also paper piecing these little flowers, which will be red. The central part of the flower will be pearlescent brown, so I take the same part from the die cut on pearlescent brown paper and stick it on the appropriate space. And I'm going to glue mosaic pieces. I'm not going to show you the whole process, just know that you can proceed as you like, using just one color or creating just a few flowers, which are very beautiful. This is just my idea, and being a technique that relaxes me a lot, I didn't find it too hard to dedicate all this time to do it. Do you want to know how long it took me? I don't know, maybe 2 hours? Now let's reveal this first part. I really like it. Okay, I continue my mosaic by repositioning the mask and proceeding by alternating the colors. I go very random, but I never glue two squares of the same colors side by side. Squares weren't enough for me, so I die cut again on all types of paper. And my mosaic is ready. Now I'm going to add the sentiment. Very simple. I absolutely do not want to distract attention from the mosaic, so I stamp the phrase "time to celebrate." It is all on the same line, but I'd like to divide it into three, going to the head of each word, thus following the mosaic's silhouette. Before inking, therefore, I'm going to cover the word "to" with masking tape, and before stamping I'm going to remove the masking tape. I proceed in the same way for the other two words. I dry the ink a little. Being slow drying, I risk making a mess. Now I'm going to add some finishing edges by cutting out a 4 by 5 1/4 black cardstock. And on white cardstock I'm going to prepare my card base in standard size, thus 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So I assemble the card, gluing the main panel on the black one, as well as all on the card base. I finish the mosaic with a glossy accent, which will make it stand out, giving it shine and dimension. For the card number 7, I will use this die cut I created for the previous card. Nothing is thrown away in crafting. With a little imagination, everything can be used again. So, with scissors, I'm going to cut out these dies, following the edges and leaving a small border. Now, these leftovers die cuts can be used to decorate a card or any other project. So I'm going to prepare a 4 by 5 1/4 panel on white cardstock. I decided to make a composition of these decorative elements, arranging them both vertically and horizontally. Once I have decided their position, I glue them to the panel with some liquid adhesive. I chop off the excesses, which I continue to use in the composition. Okay, now I'm going to add some more details and a touch of black using the squares obtained from the die cut on the black satin paper, always left over from the previous card, and the squares obtained from the die cut on the red mirror card. Finally, I just have to create the sentiment by stamping one of the stamps of the kit on white cardstock, in particular, just to say. For stamping, I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black, which, being a slow-drying ink, allows me to do a hot embossing using a clear embossing powder. Next, I'm going to die cut the sentiment with the tag included in the kit, which I'm going to cut out in order to obtain the same shape as the die. I didn't use this because it was a bit smaller than the space that the stamp requires. Now, using this die, I'm going to die cut on satin black paper. And on the red mirror one. I'm going to glue the sentiment on the card like this. Next, I'm going to prepare my card base on white cardstock, that's 4¼ by 5½ inches. Then, from the black satin paper, I'm going to make a 4¼ by 5½ panel, which will create finishing edges for the main panel. I'm going to remove the center from this panel in order to save some paper for future project. I glue the main panel on these edges and all on the card base. The 7th card is finished. For the 8th and final card, I'd like to offer you an idea on how to use the leftover pieces of paper. Also, with this die, we will create a decorative border. Let's start by make our card base a landscape card in standard size, that's 4¼ by 5½ inches. Then I'm going to cut out a panel, again on white cardstock, is 5½ wide. With the help of a T-ruler, I'm going to position the die in the center of the panel. I fix it temporarily with some masking tape and die cut. I reposition the die by aligning it with the previous die, and I repeat the process by die cutting the panel along its entire width. And we get a gorgeous decorative border. Now I'm going to add some decorative interest using this stamp from the kit. I stamp using a dark red ink. Being a distress ink, the stamp is never perfect the first time, so I'm using a stamping platform that allows me to stamp several times on the same position until I get a nice and crisp impression. The distress inks also have a slow drying, so I take the opportunity to emboss the stamp with a clear embossing powder, giving shine and a slightly embossed to the decoration. I'm going to melt the powder. Next, I'm going to extend the decoration by repositioning the stamp and repeating the same process. On white cardstock, I'm going to cut out the bottom panel that is 5.5 inches wide. You decide the height according to how much central space you want to leave uncovered. Now let's start to take all the leftover pieces of cardstock and cut out lots of strips. Then on a piece of cardstock I'm going to apply a double-sided tape, a good coverage. I remove the protective film and I proceed to glue the strips of paper. I don't follow a particular order, I just don't stick two strips of the same paper next to the other. Okay, now I'm going to cut out the excesses. And this will be the central panel of the card. Although the colors of this kit are very dark, seen all together, I must say that I like them very much. So I'm cutting out the central panel to be 5.5 inches wide, and I'm going to glue it on the card base. On the bottom panel I'm gonna stamp the sentiment, always using the dark red and embossing it with clear embossing powder, as I did for the top panel decorations. Next, I'm going to cut out two very thin strips, one of black satin paper and one of red mirror card. I'm gonna use them to decorate the bottom panel. I chop off the extra, and now I can glue the lower and the upper panel on the card base using some foam tape. Thus ending the 8th and last card. And we have come to the end of the videos dedicated to the creation of cards using the Tonic Craft Kit 40. I hope you have enjoyed yourself and that some ideas have inspired you. In the next video I will propose you a box created using the dice of the kit, but which will have a totally different style to that proposed by the designers of the Tonic Studios. Write me in the comment your experiences with this kit and which of the 8 cards I proposed you liked the most. If you have one, of course. Thank you for joining with me. See you next time and be colorful.